Namaste. Today with us here, Miss Suzanne Holden, and she's a director in a company called Icon Adventure in Australia. And they do tours almost all around the world, and including Africa, India, Nepal, and Papua New Guinea, Coconut Trail. So, Suzanne, can you please tell us about Icon Adventure?
Okay, yep, sure. Well, Icon Adventures actually started back in 2006, and the reason it started was by accident, really. My children are adopted from Ethiopia.
Yes.
And you've met, yeah, Archie and Libby from Ethiopia. But back in 2005, I should say, their dad, my husband at the time, wanted to go back to Ethiopia. We'd been twice to pick them up as babies, and he wanted to go back to travel around. So I stayed home because the children were toddlers at the time. And he went over to Ethiopia with a friend of his, Chris Ramsey, who you've met. Yes. And they traveled around the country and went up into the Simeon Mountains, and they're real mad keen trekkers. So they thought, this is fantastic. There's not many Westerners around. So they thought this was fantastic and came back to Australia and told all their friends. And the following year, which was 2006, they had 16 people signed up ready to go back to Ethiopia with them on a trekking holiday.
16 people, good number.
Yeah, I know, it was a lot. I know. Well, you know how big 16 is. So that was their very first tour with 16 people. So, yeah. So, and then it just grew from there. It went from there to Kilimanjaro, Kokoda, and doing mainly just trekking holidays. But it was just a hobby for us. We were all. I got involved. I at the time was a police officer. And then husband Chris and James were both in agriculture. Chris's wife was an admin person, and we just did this as a sideline, like taking annual leave and leading trips. But then over the years, things changed, and long story short, I ended up taking over the company in 2016, I think it was, yeah. So I resigned from my job in the police and took over Icon Adventures in 2016. And I've kind of changed the direction a little bit. It was more known as hardcore trekking, you know, the sort of treks that you go out and for 7, 8, 9 days and you carry all your gear. Yes. And you camp out. That stuff that you probably enjoy doing. But me, not so much. So we still do hiking, but more, you know, for 2, 3, 4 days, and usually staying in nicer accommodation and doing cultural tours and hiking tours, basically. And as you said in the introduction, around the world, pre-COVID. Yeah. But things have changed.
Yes. So, which are the locations you go to mainly?
So, yeah, so one of the last trips that Chris took was to Nepal, which is one that he was lucky enough to meet you, because you came on that trip to Nepal with us. And we've done India as well, and I was lucky enough to take my kids over to India. That's where we first met you. It was when I didn't realize you were such a new person at the time, but that was one of your first jobs, was showing myself, my friend, and our 3 children around the country. And we go to I'll talk about normally, we go to South America as well, to Peru, to Japan. We should have been going this year, should have been going to Italy. I did manage to sneak in a quick trip to New Zealand before everything shut down. So all, you know, all over, all continents. Some of them we run our own tours, but we also send people on private tours as well. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite your locations that you want to go?
No, it's like it's different favorites for different things. Like you know, I love the Amazon jungle for how, you know, for the nature and the relaxation of it. I love India for the noise and the hustle and the bustle and the smells and the colors. I love Ethiopia because of my connection through my children. So no, it would be wrong of me to pick a favorite, but I have favorites for different reasons.
So with there's no international travels anymore. So do you have any other like work work plans or trips around Australia or something?
Yeah, well, I'm actually in Queensland, and I don't know how things. I mean, I did speak to you, I don't know, about a month ago about how things were in India, but obviously a month ago, lots changed since then. But here in Australia, well, in Queensland anyway, all our state borders are closed, so we can't leave Queensland, and nobody can get into Queensland. But that's not, we're very lucky here in Queensland. We have very few. I think you can count on one hand how many cases we have, and they're all under control at the moment. So in Queensland, we still have beaches, we still have cities, we still have mountains, we still have outback. So there's still plenty to do. So I've got a couple of outback Queensland tours going in the next couple of months, and just before I came on to this interview with you, I was putting just a weekend trip to Brisbane together, and so it's a matter of just sort of going with the flow, listening to what people would like to do, and acting as quickly as you can to meet demand and do something within our own state at this stage. But international travel, I mean, they're not talking about that until perhaps mid next year. So we can't even.
It's getting longer and longer.
Yeah, I know that door keeps closing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we hope that it will end quite soon, and then we'll start traveling again. And last time you couldn't make up to my home, so you're always welcome back in Dharamshala for longer.
Yeah, well, I haven't even met your children. I haven't met your wife or your children.
Yeah. Now you can meet my wife with my children.
Yeah.
And say hello to Libby and Archie, and say namaste to Chris Ramsey.
Yeah.
And because he said one day he'll come with me to Himalayas to climb a peak in Ladakh. So hopefully we do this.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Who is the other guy? Shane Paul. He wants to come riding motorbikes with you.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember Shane?
Yes.
He often mentions you. I speak to him every few months, and he mentions you every time I speak to him.
Yeah. So of course I remember him, and he's talking about the Royal Enfield riding. So I said, okay, come to Dharamshala. I'll take you on a tour.
Yes. Yes. He wants to see the cricket as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cricket ground there.
So I won't take you much time, and thanks for giving your time. And
no worries.
Until next time, namaste.
Bye-bye.